Hey everybody, it's Marissa and it is Thursday, so it's time for another one of our Thursday thoughts. And before I kind of get going with it, you may be hearing a little hum in the background, and that's just because I thought today, being such a beautiful sunny day here in Durango, Colorado, I would film from my back deck. So what you're actually hearing is the sound of the lovely Pine River flowing about 100 feet below us. And I may have to put my sunglasses on too because it's pretty bright out here. So if you are new to tuning in to my Thursday thoughts, I just take this time to unpack and riff on what I happen to be really passionate about, which is athleticism, living a very active, healthy lifestyle. I weave in some psychological pieces, and yeah, it's just kind of some random stuff that I like to talk about. I do draw on my former background as a professional athlete, and I try to weave in sort of my clinical skills in mental health. So it's random, but I hope it's helpful and interesting. So today I'm going to unpack and talk about something I've been thinking about for a really long time, is talking about this sort of archetype of being a happy athlete. And please know, when I say athlete, I talk about all ends of the spectrum. I think there's a little bit of stigma just because of my own past that I only am speaking to these elite athletes, and that is absolutely not true. Now, I define athlete as any person that participates in an activity on a regular basis that's somewhat physical. So it could be anything from riding horses to playing pickleball to playing tennis, and then of course doing some things that I like to do, which is hiking and biking and running. So in all ages, all abilities. So I'm kind of thinking that most of y'all probably relate or subscribe to this. So even though I think most of us would sort of say that we do our athletic or our exercise or activities in the spirit of wanting to be happy, I actually find that people coming in to talk to me have sort of a reverse experience or an opposite experience. There tends to be sort of this veil of kind of comparison that starts to come over people. So I'm passionate and pretty committed to the path of, and really trying to live myself personally, this path of being happy and content and athletic. So I want to talk first about there's a little hummingbird coming around here, that's cute. Let's just talk about athleticism and why maybe it has just the inherent ability to cause us to start to compare ourselves. So being athletic, it doesn't have to be even competitive in nature. I think woven into the fabric of it is sort of a natural sort of comparative component. So, for example, we usually do things for a time, for a distance, for a speed. Again, even if we're just, going for a little jog around the neighborhood, there's usually a time component. And I think as humans, if we go and we do that jog the next day and we happen to be 2 to 3 minutes faster, we feel good. Okay, we feel like we've, made an improvement. I think it's very natural for humans to want to improve on our daily activities. So I think that's why there just tends to be some comparison that starts to get involved with being active. And then certainly, if we're doing something on a team sport, or if we're doing something that is a competition, or it does have some sort of valuation to it, win, a loss, a placing, we're gonna start to compare. So it's natural. I like to normalize things sometimes. So what I see happening, though, is this sort of normal aspect. We start to really take it inside and personally, and then the activities that we tend to maybe initially love, like I even kind of sometimes think about riding a 10-speed bike when I was 13. Well, that's a far different experience than what I had in the athletic world. But that sort of joyous experience, sometimes we lose it along the way. Now let's jump to the other side, happy. I have to say that most people that come into my office, their wish is kind of simple. They say, I just want to be a happy person. I just want to be happy. So I think that's a natural thing for us to want. let's talk about happy. I don't know if you all have seen that documentary Happy, but it's lovely. It talks about all these different cultures around the world and sort of the simplicity of being happy. I think here in our culture we have, we've thought that happiness is sort of this thing that we have to attain that's based on maybe achievement or monetary status. It means having a smile on our face the whole time. It means having sort of that perfect life. I don't really think that's possible. So I like to actually think of happiness is, I reframe it. I like to think of it as more of contentment. And so when I pose that to people, I say, hey, would you be cool with kind of looking at your desire to be happy as maybe a desire to be content? Most people say, yeah, definitely. So with that, that's kind of my definition, if you will, of this athletic archetype or this happy athlete. It's a content and active person. Okay, so how do we do it, right? I'm going to be providing a lot of different tips. I think, first of all, just kind of naming what I feel like it is kind of the first step. My tip today, though, and I'm like literally 2 minutes away from going to practice it, is ditch your device. This thing, right? I happen to use a Garmin. No, I'm not sponsored by them, but I use a Garmin. I know Fitbits are really popular. I know there's the Apple iWatch. Nike has one. What are some of the other ones? Sunto, I think that's a German company. iPhones, that's a device, right? Those of you that use your iPhone to measure what your activity is. I also find that people then start to equate their experience with activity with a certain number that's spit out. Not so great. Okay, so I recommend to start to kind of practice or play with how to become more of a content athletic person. Get rid of your device, at least for 1 day a week. Just ditch it, but actually start using activity to become closer to your own body. So go for a jog without any sort of information on how you did. Feel your body, feel your lungs, feel your feet hitting the pavement. Hey, if you're in the gym, which I know can be a little bit of a soul-sucking experience, get on one of those elliptical trainers, don't have music, and just feel what it feels like to move your body for 20 minutes. But most people actually start to feel better in their body. It's when we always are sort of tuned out or distracted. So, I know I'm kind of rambling on and on here, but that is my first tip in how to be a happy and content athlete. Ditch your device. And that also means get away from Facebook, get away from Strava. And if you don't know what Strava is, don't even go there. Boy, that's like a breeding ground for comparison. Start to do an activity just for the love of the activity and for what your body is going to feel like. You're going to start to feel more contentment in your life. Okie dokie, I am going to head out for my run right now. Okay, adios.